What is up, Texans Nation? I've got some major news coming out of mandatory minicamp that has me buzzing about our wide receiver room. While everyone is focused on the big names, a certain veteran is turning heads and proving he deserves a spot on this 53-man roster. Is he really going to beat the odds and stick around for the season? There is a massive battle brewing for those final spots, and you won't believe who is making a serious case right now. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and comment below before we dive into the details. The Houston Texans have officially wrapped up their mandatory minicamp, marking the final major checkpoint of the offseason before the team gathers for training camp next month. While these 3-day sessions consist of non-contact and no-pads workouts, they provide the first glimpses into how the depth chart might shape up for the 2026 campaign. Among the players drawing attention during these sessions is veteran wide receiver Justin Watson. Despite being a name not discussed as frequently as others, Watson was seen taking notable reps with the first-team offense, working directly with quarterback C.J. Stroud. This involvement is a significant development, especially considering the veteran wideout spent his previous season sidelined due to an Achilles injury that limited him to only 3 appearances. Now back to full health and participating as a full participant in practice. Watson is positioning himself to demonstrate why the front office initially brought him into the building. As the team looks toward the upcoming season, the performance of players like Watson during this early phase is crucial for the coaching staff to evaluate as they look toward the final 53-man roster decisions. While training camp will ultimately provide a much clearer picture of the final squad, the fact that a veteran of his caliber is already finding space with the primary offensive unit during these early walkthroughs is a development that demands notice. For the fans who are always ready for Toro time, seeing veteran contributors regain their form on the practice field is the start of the process to build depth. With 6 weeks remaining until training camp kicks off, the competition for spots will only intensify as the roster begins to take its final shape for the long season ahead. The emergence of Justin Watson during minicamp forces a closer look at the current composition of the wide receiver room and what his presence means for the overall roster strategy. Why does this matter right now for the team? The Texans are looking to balance a group that features proven starters like Nico Collins and Tank Dell, with young, developing talents such as Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, and rookie Lewis Bond. In this context, Watson provides a unique profile. Entering his 9th NFL season, he brings extensive experience from his time with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Kansas City Chiefs, including winning 3 championship rings while playing alongside quarterbacks like Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. This veteran pedigree offers a perspective that is valuable in a room populated by second-year players and newcomers. By proving he is back to 100% health, Watson is not just competing for a spot. He is providing the coaching staff with a reliable option who understands the demands of the league. The current goal for the staff is to identify which players can execute with consistency, and Watson's ability to step into first-team reps suggests he is fully integrated into the program's current plans. As the team transitions away from the minicamp period, the focus shifts toward maintaining this momentum into the more rigorous training camp schedule. The depth of the receiver group is a critical factor for the organization as they aim to maximize their offensive potential throughout the 2026 season. With the veteran now showing signs of his former production, the technical evaluation of the roster will become a focal point of the upcoming 6-week window before the official training camp sessions begin to sort out the final offensive hierarchy. While Justin Watson is making a compelling case for himself, the path to a final roster spot remains complex due to the sheer volume of talent the team is currently evaluating. The Texans already have several wide receivers considered to be locked in, including Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Xavier Hutchinson, and the second-year duo of Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel. When you add the potential for Lewis Bond to push for a spot, the competition for the remaining roles becomes incredibly tight. The central question for the organization is how many wideouts they are prepared to keep on the final 53-man roster. Last season, the team carried 7 receivers into the opening week, a number that included Watson and Braxton Berrios. Because the team demonstrated a willingness to maintain a deep group at the position previously, there is a historical precedent that could work in favor of a veteran like Watson. However, the decision will depend on how the coaching staff weighs the utility of his veteran experience against the upside of the younger players currently developing within the system. If Watson continues to perform well through the upcoming training camp and preseason, he provides a solid argument for being one of the 7 pass catchers to survive the final cut-down day. The front office and the coaching staff will have to determine if his specific skill set, honed through nearly a decade of professional play and successful championship runs, outweighs the potential of younger, unproven assets. For now, the magnifying glass remains firmly on his performance. Every practice rep serves as a data point for the team, as they analyze how each player fits into the wider identity they are trying to forge for the new season, with Watson serving as a litmus test for roster depth. The case for retaining Justin Watson is built on the intersection of his specific experience and his performance in these high-stakes training environments. Having 3 championship rings indicates a familiarity with the high standards of winning, a trait that the Texans clearly value given their initial pursuit of him last year. Now that he is physically healthy, the potential role for him within the offense appears more distinct. He is not merely a depth piece. He is a veteran who has successfully caught passes from some of the most decorated quarterbacks in league history. This experience is an asset during the installation of schemes and the high-pressure moments that occur throughout an NFL season. As the team prepares for training camp, the ability of a player to mentor younger teammates while simultaneously producing on the field is a dual benefit that is rarely overlooked. With players like Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel still finding their footing in their second seasons, having a 9-year veteran on the practice field creates a standard of execution for the entire unit. The fact that the team allowed him to rotate into the first-team offense during minicamp suggests that the staff is genuinely interested in what he can provide to the vertical attack. If he can maintain this level of play, he forces the organization to justify moving on from a player who has shown the capacity to contribute in both offensive and special teams capacities. As the weeks tick down toward the start of camp, the focus for Watson will be on consistency. The team will look to see if his minicamp performance was an anomaly or the beginning of a sustained push for a significant role in the upcoming 2026 campaign. As the team prepares for the next phase of the offseason, the pressure on Justin Watson to continue his current trajectory is evident. With the roster expected to be deep on both sides of the ball, every spot is highly contested, and there is limited margin for error as the coaching staff prepares for the cut-down process. Watson's situation is a prime example of the challenges faced by veterans in a league that consistently trends toward younger, more cost-effective talent. However, his specific history of production, coupled with his current health, puts him in a position to defy the odds and cement his place in the group. If the team decides that carrying 7 receivers is the optimal path for their roster construction, Watson has a very strong chance of being that 7th man. Conversely, if the team decides to lean into a tighter rotation or prioritize younger prospects, he will need to prove that his presence provides an intangible or strategic edge that cannot be replicated elsewhere. As fans look toward training camp, the story of Watson will be one to watch closely. His ability to turn a challenging start with the Texans into a successful return to the field reflects the competitive nature of the upcoming months. The organization has a difficult task ahead of them in sorting through the wide receiver room, and Watson's performance in the coming weeks will play a major role in that outcome. Between now and the start of the season, he will need to stay on his toes, as the competition will not relent until the final roster is submitted. The focus remains on his health, his execution, and his ability to remain a central figure during these upcoming training camp sessions.